1619 AD, 5513 AM. The first African slaves were sold to English colonists in Virginia, North America. 1620 AD, 5514 AM. The Pilgrims or Puritans sailed from Holland in the Dutch Republic on the Mayflower, where King James had driven them by his intolerance. They sailed toward North America, hoping to found a land where God was feared rather than a king. On their way, they stopped at Plymouth in England. Oswald Spengler wrote in his The Decline of the West, quote, "The belief that the English are the descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel, a nation of saints predestined to govern the world, dominated also the immigration to America, which began with the Pilgrim Fathers of 1620, unquote. Interestingly, 1620 is 432 years, 108 times 4, before the beginning of the Anunnaki kingdom over mankind that begins in 2052 AD. The Pilgrims landed and interacted with the local Native Americans. They would be saved from starvation by Indians, which is the origin of Thanksgiving Day. Sir Francis Bacon published his Novum Organum, New Method, in which he explains the techniques for inductive reasoning. An old German newspaper on June 25th noted that for 8 days straight, the water in the city moat around a German town was red like blood. The English Pilgrim colony in North America, 1620, was established exactly 792 years after the first King of England was enthroned in 828 AD. Further, this was precisely 2,500 years, 50 jubilees, after the founding of the Israelite capital city of Samaria in 881 BC. 1. The Decline of the West. 2. Commentaries on the occult philosophy of Agrippa. 1622 AD, 5516 AM. Chief Opechancanough was the brother of the Indian leader Powhatan of the Chesapeake tribes, and he devised a plan to destroy the English settlers. Luring them into a false peace, he then launched simultaneous attacks on the settlements surrounding Jamestown that killed over 300 settlers. The English colonists retaliated by destroying Indian cornfields, which kept them in check for 22 years until 1644. 1. A Patriot's History of the United States. 1624 AD, 5518 AM. Japan reenacts the edict allowing for the persecution of Christians in Japan and its territories. This serves only to force the Christian movement underground, adding to its appeal and strengthening its bonds. Through the covenants of Christianity, the Japanese believers are adopted into the family of Israel. This year is 4736 years, 2368 times 2, after the start of the Mayan calendar, and this year was 2368 years after the 10 tribes of Israel are deported into the east by the Assyrians in 745 BC, initiating their migrations. Further, this year was exactly 70 jubilees, 3500 years, since the establishment of the Abrahamic covenant in 1877 BC, offered to Israel and then all who maintained faith in the Creator. 1626 AD, 5520 AM. The scholar, famous mystic and writer and Chancellor of England, Sir Francis Bacon, Lord Verulam, died. This year ends the Phoenix cycle system of 552-year epochs of human history. These were measured by orbits of planet Phoenix. Planet Phoenix passes through the inner solar system on its 138-year orbit, probably unseen from Earth. However, on its next pass it will be seen clearly by hundreds of thousands of Europeans, and studied by astronomer Hoffman through a telescope in 1764. In this year the Dutch purchase an island from the Manhattan Indians, still called Manhattan Island today, their settlement named New Amsterdam, which would later be renamed as the City of New York. This year begins a 414-year timeline, cursed Earth period, to the total destruction of the city of New York in 2040 AD, when the Atlantic Ocean will bury the city and entire eastern United States as planet Phoenix transits, initiating a slip of the lithosphere known as a pole shift. Also in this year, the Peruvian chronologist Ferdinand Montesinos finished his extensive Inca history. The research confirms the 1407 BC astronomical event of the sun standing still over Canaan, the American version claiming that the sun did not rise for 20 hours. Even the Phoenix period of 2070 years, 414 times 5, is confirmed in the Peruvian records. This Andean chronology mentioned in When the Sun Darkens. 1628 AD, 55:22 AM. From this year on through 1643, massive drought leads to the deaths of millions in China. Famine and disease and incidents of cannibalism are also reported. This social unrest and fatality leads to the fall of the Ming dynasty and the rise of the Manchus in 1645. The steam engine is invented, a machine motor that will alter the entire world, paving the way for industrial revolutions, which in turn influenced the global economy. 1 Apocalypse 2012 AD. 1631 AD, 55:25 AM. Mount Vesuvius in Italy erupted, killing about 4,000 people. 1 Natural disasters. 1633 AD, 55:27 AM. The Inquisition in Rome condemned Galileo, Pope Urban affirming, quote, "The proposition that the earth moves is absurd, philosophically false, and theologically considered at least erroneous in faith," unquote. 1 Popery, foe of the Church. 1636 AD, 55:30 AM. Harvard College is founded, the oldest university in the United States. It initially was founded to train the Christian clergy, but it did have a large secular itinerary. The Pequot Indians of coastal New England traded with the Puritan settlers, but when a trader was murdered, the Puritans launched an attack on the Pequot fort on the Mystic River in the following year of 1637, one A Patriot's History of the United States. 1637 AD, 55:31 AM. The Puritans of New England, with Mohegan and Narragansett Indian allies, attacked the Mystic River fort of the Pequot Indians. The colonial fighters were from Connecticut and Massachusetts. They destroyed the wooden palisade and fortress and killed about 400 Pequot Indians, considered one of the first stunning victories of the English over Indians. 1 A Patriot's History of the United States.